talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
Mrs. Cassay, I'm looking here at the nutrition funds, child nutrition funds. It says we got, $4,700,000 in that fund.
That was the budget.
That was the budget. And we've already spent almost $2 million.
Correct.
So we only have just over $2 million to feed our kids for the rest of the year.
We have spent 57%. We have 43% that's remaining, so we are on track for the rest of the year.
We're on track. Can you elaborate on where we were this time last year?
I don't have that information.
You don't have that information? So, speaking of that, breakdown that Mr. Thomas was speaking of, can you give us a detailed, I'm requesting a detailed breakdown as to what we're spending in each category.
Okay. I
That
don't
would
have
be-
that in front of me, but I can.
I understand that I kind of put you on the hot seat there, and I apologize for that, but I need a detail, we need a detail. And I'm requesting a detailed report as to what we're spending in each category. That'd be everything from nutrition to transportation to salaries, the whole nickel and dime. That's our responsibility as board members, to make sure that we make sure that the finances that come to this district are spent properly. That's one of our major responsibilities, and the state holds us accountable for that. So can you get that for us, please?
Yes,
How long do you think it'll take you for you to get that?
probably about next week.
Yes, ma'am. Please get that for us. That would be very helpful for us, so we know where we are, especially with all the issues that we have going on with budgeting right now, from the White House on down. You know, really nobody, we had 100 counties in North Carolina, really nobody knows where they stand. But we need to, and a lot of reasons why they probably don't know, is because they ain't been told a lot, so they have to ask. So we're gonna ask.
So, just a question, would it make sense to have it prepared and put on the agenda for the next meeting as broken down?
If she says she'll have it in 2 weeks, I mean, she knows her job. She's been doing it.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to give her ample enough time to give us a separation
She knows her job.
so we can review it. So,
You've been in the financial position in our time of not having one in that position for how many years?
I'll probably say about 2,
9 years?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, acting as the interim.
But how many times have you done it?
This will be my second
Second time. And you've been with the district how long?
25 years,
And you worked in finance the whole time?
not the whole time.
Okay. How many years you been in finance?
Probably 22,
Not getting off the subject.
22.
Thank you so much for your service. You're probably qualified to have the job. I'll make that recommendation too. But get us that information. Thank you so much.
thank you, Mr. Thay.
Ms. Bethea, I do have another question, but I think it's more so geared towards Dr. Atkinson. It's in regards to, since we're talking about finance, it's in regards to the actual audit that is underway. Typically, whenever you have a firm, what happens, of course, they'll have one person or one auditor that's assigned. They'll come in and understand processes, look at reconciliation, invoices, and some of those things, just to be sure that our rhythm of reporting things is 100% correct. I know that one of the meetings, maybe a few months ago, we talked about the Yellow Book audit, and there was someone that came in and they presented page after page of information. But typically, when those auditors are on site, they go through that stuff during that time, and they give you a heads up of things that they found, and they give you the opportunity to correct those, and they make recommendations. So ideally, whenever the findings are complete in the end, we'll already be abreast of those. So I know that they're to come, I think it said in February sometime.
They're, I think it's the last week, and they're supposed to do a report for the board. They're gonna do additional testing beyond what they normally do, because they become from the
So have they
interim.
started testing now?
I think they've pulled some stuff electronic already, or have requested some records already of some things that they'll do off-site, then they'll come on-site for a few days as well.
Have they provided any feedback?
I haven't received anything as of yet so far, so. But I asked him, he'll be here at the March meeting to do a report for the board of the additional testing they had done.
So when did they start that?
It's supposed to be, they're doing the electronic records review now, and then they'll be on site at the end of the month, I think it is. Yes. But, and so they'll, that's my understanding, they'll look at things electronic first, then they'll come on site, was it about 3 or 4 days typically, Ms. Bethea? They'll come.
When did it start?
They-
She said she doesn't know, because they haven't asked her for anything.
So it should be this week then, I guess, because they said about 3 weeks out.
So you're just giving them access to,
Right.
to go in and pull things on their own?
They may ask for certain, like, they might say from federal, send us 5, 6 examples of this, or they may say something specific, give us your Title I for a certain month, or things like that. So they'll do random testing, and then what I had inquired about the additional, would be some additional testing beyond what they would ordinarily do, and they want to share with the board, because we had asked for that with the transition. And so when he comes in March for the presentation, they'll be sharing that with the board then. But we hadn't heard anything in terms of any additional.
So my concern on that is, I mean, cars, child nutrition, all that. Has there been a problem in the past 4 years?
I'm not aware of any. Now, one thing about child nutrition is different. This law was passed
Right.
probably about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
Come on.
They have to have a certain threshold before you can pull indirect cost from them. And so I know for the last 2 years at least, they were not quite at that, and a lot of districts aren't. I think it's got to be 3 months of operating expense on hand before you can pull indirect costs. And so they have been shy of that. See, in the past, there was no law that limited how much they had on hand. Because with child nutrition, if they do not remain whole, local dollars have to bring them back to a positive balance. Now, they have not been in a negative balance. And I'd have to see, I want to think when they did the last pool for the indirect cost, I want to think it was around 1.7 or 1.8 cash on hand, if I remember right, in terms of months. But, you know, a district cannot, used to, you could pull indirect costs to cover things like light bill, those things that, even though it's part of the school, it does generate its own profit. And to go back on one other thing, I think I had to get clarification with the percentage, like in terms of 57%. I want to think that the federal is a month behind, or month. So if you're in month January now, the reimbursements that will be coming would actually be December. And so I think they function, they have to file it, it comes 30 days later. I'll get a definite answer on that. So that might be where the revenue's a little short, because it hasn't posted the next set of revenue coming from. That'd be from USDA, that'd be the federal reimbursement on those meals. But I do think it was 1.7. I'll get that to you all, get the exact, but I would think it's 1.7 months of operating when DPI looked at it last time. But again, that deals with the indirect cost. But we'll let you know when they have done the request to make, when Ms. Bethea gets the first call for the desk review, we'll let you all know. That should be. Yes, sir. Yeah, this is separate. What we'll do, we'll pull a PRC report. That will do it by each fund, and that will be for state, federal, everything. So if it's transportation, it'll be the state transportation line to show that. So it'll be by line, so it'll be a PRC report. That's something we can get to you next week.
Just to make sure we understand what's been requested, we want to know every single line item that is being spent in our budget.
That report will do that.
I don't care if it's pencils. We want to know.
There'll be a line for instructional supplies. That will be, so
Okay.
it'll be by every fund. It's called a purpose code, PRC.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Yes, sir.
I got a question. I think somebody mentioned about the amount of money that you allowed to spend, about 4%. And, I don't know, maybe they done it, but somebody wanted that information about what were you spending, you know, without over consent.
The policy,
I did.
I mean,
I
that didn't come to
requested
me, but I
information,
mean,
Still have not gotten it.
well, the request wasn't made to me. What's the request?
I think what he's asking is,
I'm here, I can clarify what
is
I
he wants
requested. I don't need anybody else
quarterly,
for it.
we can ask for, a quarterly report. I mean, it's the pleasure of the board, to what we're asking.
Once again, I'm
for,
here, I
so-
can clarify what I requested.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I can do that. I'm capable. I requested what you allocated, not allocated, what you approved to be spent throughout the district for the last year. We were not worrying about 26. It's already, it just started, so that would be 24, 25. But now, it wouldn't hurt to get up to current, end of year 25. So, and that would be everything that you approved to be spent throughout the district for 24 and 25. No matter what it is, we want to know what it is. And so we can take that information and we can balance it toward the budget that we currently, information that we get, and kind of make sense of it, and get a, kind of a picture as to what we're looking at going into the new year, and what's been spent over the previous 2 years. That was requested over 2 weeks ago.
Well,
Still waiting on that information.
Well, that request was not made to me, so I'm not sure.
It was made in a meeting, and,
But for-
you
for-
were not,
I'm
you were
sorry.
supposed to be made purview to it, but,
For
I guess that was
clarification now,
but now it's made in this meeting, and it's part of the board notes, so, part of the meeting notes is being requested.
I need a point of clarification if this is the board's pleasure. With the expenditures, yeah, we're gonna need to, I guess, kind of define what it is, because just most departments, obviously, unless it's a specific contract or something within that guideline, department heads can spend even under that amount themselves. It's not necessarily coming to me to necessarily sign it. It just goes through the process. I mean, that would really be everything we've done. It'd be every single expense, because I don't always necessarily have to sign, everything. So it just depends on, what it is. I mean, a lot of things departments are doing, that's their bookkeeper, it's going through finance. I'm not the one who signs off on that, so.
Just to bring clarity to it, nobody has the spending power that you have in this district. No department head has the spending power. Once you get to a certain number, and we know what that number is, it's not easy to even find it. It has to come to you for approval. And once it gets over your amount, then you have to come to us for approval. Even when it's at your amount, you have to let us know prior to you spending it.
That's not.
So all I'm asking for is the information that I just stated, and then we'll be good.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes, Chair, and if we could refer to the board attorney. Seems like we fell off track and they're bringing up additional stuff to prolong the meeting. We have a section as far as board member concerns, if that needs to be brought up at the next meeting.
No,
Let's try to stick to the agenda, move through the meeting, and handle the business with the school.
I was just asking a question that was asked to me, is all I was doing. So,
On-
I appreciate that. Let's move
All
forward.
right, guys, let's move on. We can address it if we need to address it more in the board comment, what we're asking for here. So, information item 9.2, Community Services Program, Ms. Ellie Johnson.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. Tonight, I want to share a brief overview of the community schools model and how it is taking shape here in our district, and specifically across the street at Elizabethtown Middle School. Community schools are public schools strengthened through partnership. They bring together educators, families, and community organizations to ensure every student has what they need to learn and thrive. In this model, the school serves as a hub for its community and has a dedicated community schools coordinator who works to align resources with real local needs so that teachers can focus on instruction and students can focus on learning. Research and experience across North Carolina shows that when schools are deeply connected to their communities, attendance improves, student outcomes strengthen, and families become more actively engaged in the life of the school. Under the leadership of Principal Godwin, Elizabethtown Middle School has experienced positive growth in culture, climate, and academic progress. The Community Schools Framework provides an opportunity to build on that momentum. To help lead this work, we're proud to introduce Ms. Anastasia Chapman, who is serving as Elizabethtown Middle School's Community Schools Coordinator. In this role, Ms. Chapman will work closely with school leadership, families, and community partners to assess needs, connect resources, and develop initiatives that strengthen opportunities for students and families. At this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Chapman to share a brief introduction, along with take a look at what's on the horizon for her in this new role, and Elizabethtown Middle School, as a community school.
Hi, everyone. Very nice to meet you. Again, Anastasia Chapman. I have been in this role for a little over a month, but I have over a decade experience working in nonprofit and exactly on what I will be doing in Elizabethtown Middle School is connecting the community and people in the community to the resources that they need, not only with the resources that I think would benefit them, but actually meeting with the community and hear what the needs are, and then depends on those assessments and what they say that they need, I would help them to connect with those resources. So for now, I think my primary focus has been building a food pantry in our school, which has been already a huge success, and I'm very grateful for the community members that I already have met. And we have some donations coming in, the food line bringing us pallets of food. And just to mind you that today I have heard a lot of conversations about the nutrition, which is wonderful that the kids have the resources during the school day, but every single day we have about minimum of 4 kids, and before the weekend, up to 15 children who are coming to grab food from our food pantry that we're just working on. Okay, so before the winter storm, I distributed in the bags over 100 items of food just over 20 minutes of period. So that just shows you the need of the community, and the kids are right now learning what we're doing. They're coming in every day. They come more often with the smile, and I hope that we're going to keep working on providing those healthy resources for them, not just the top ramen, but also something that will be good for their body and for their mind and for their health. So that's something that I'm working on as an immediate need has been identified, but also I'm sure that I will be up here often presenting to you and asking for maybe your feedback and the permission to do certain things, but also meeting with the community and identifying what the needs they have. I think we have on the big picture and on the horizon, again, as we will be working on the providing food resources for the whole community, not only for the kids in our school. So even this week I had new families who came in and just registered for our school, and I was able to provide them with some bags of the healthy food, but also the cleaning supplies and the female hygiene products for the to take home right after they register their kids. And also we will be working on potentially the summer program and parent education program where the parents can come into school and learn how they can assist their kids with the schoolwork and hopefully increase the grades. Yeah, that's just briefly introduction. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer.
And your name again, ma'am?
Anastasia Chapman.
Anastasia?
Yes.
Thank you for everything you're doing for us.
Well, I'm
Like you have your hands full.
I'm happy to do it. You know, every single day when the kids come in with the smile and they start having the conversations and, you know, they happy to look inside the bag and that there is not just one thing that they, you know, eat every single day, that just whatever makes my day better, so.
And what age are these kids primarily?
So we have the 5th through 8th grade. So it's a very wide range, 10 years old to, Mr. Godwin, help me, 13. Yeah.
Right, but it may impact other students, so if they have siblings in kindergarten, lower grades or higher grades, they could still
Yes.
benefit from it by the food.
Oh, absolutely. I
Right.
mean, even now, we have kids who are coming in and they just grab in one bag, but we usually ask, do you have any kids, other siblings at
Right.
home that you would to share food? I mean, again, we're just working on stacking up the pantry, so I don't have that many resources, but we definitely try to provide as much as we can. Last week, I stopped by one of my good friends from my previous nonprofit work relationship at the NC Food Bank. So we will try to bring a pop-up market to Elizabethtown. So that's going to be something that everyone can use, but also they would be able to donate some food to us. And we already brought some boxes of apples for the kids at the end of the last week to share and take home as much as they could.
I want to say to you, thank you. That's a lot of hard work, and when you're addressing food insecurities, it is a lot. And to get pallets of food donated, I'm sure you heard no's before you got yeses, and so it's an ongoing process. So thank you so much for the impact that you're making for those students and families in need. Thank you.
That's my pleasure. And again, kids and their happiness, that's what makes a huge difference. And just showing them that the community cares, I think that's the most important thing. Again, why I think very grateful that the middle school was chosen, because there is a lot of resources for the elementary babies and the high school kids. But the middle school is really when you make that decision, not maybe about your profession, but if you want to take a right path or a wrong one. And when you see that there is someone in school who think about your nutrition, your education, and just cares about you and brings the community to you. And when you can show them the community really cares, and I can see some faces here that definitely care about the kids every single day. So just showing kids that we care and we want to bring them resources, I think that's, I guess, the biggest thing that I can do for these kids.
And I think what you're seeing inside of that middle school is a progression, results are improving, and I think if we all took a page out of your book and put it in every school, then we'd probably see much more improvement. So thank you for what you're doing. Absolutely appreciate you.
Senator, if I could,
I
Yes.
want your information. I got some resources.
I
Chairman,
really
Senator, if
appreciate
I
it.
could
Yes.
say one thing.
Mr. Davis?
Yeah.
In the board packet, you should have received this sheet as an attachment, so that's got Ms. Chapman's information.
Okay.
Yes.
Chairman
And
Singletary.
while we are on this positive note, looking at any resources. So if you have family, churches, businesses that would like to connect, I'm here to answer any questions. There is not such a thing as a small donation, but also the great thing about, I guess, what I'm really passionate about is not only thinking about the monetary donations, but if you don't have money, I will find something for you to do outside of that. I'm seeing a lot of great resources even here. You know, you can give the financial advice to the parents. You can teach the kids with the example if you have some career that you succeeded. So there is a lot of opportunities to connect on any level, monetary or not. So please reach out. I would be happy to talk to you.
Dr. Ackes?
Right.
Thank you,
Thank
Chairman,
you.
Secretary, board members, yes.
Absolutely.
Just want to add real quickly with the community schools, it is a great program. We're already seeing some fruit from that already. The Sand Hills region, we were actually awarded an opportunity to be a part of community schools. And we're excited, all 13 of our LEAs in our region. And so we're grateful for that. We hope to have expansion. That is a part of the state board's strategic plan. Obviously, working through it is federally funded. And so, but at this point, we are thankful for that. We've already seen fruit from that labor and hope to be able to expand that. And so it's definitely, we know that in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there's basic essential needs you got to have before you can get to learning. And we know that that's what's being provided here. And so we're so thankful for having Anastasia come on board. We're thankful to Student U for helping to fund her salary in that position for our district. So we are so thankful and look forward to continued great things.
All righty. We'll move on to 9.3, exceptional children department update, head count and funding, Ms. Cheryl Whitesmith. EC budget update. And board members, just a reminder, make sure your mic's on when you're talking, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Board Chair and Board members. Thank you for the opportunity to provide you a brief update on the Exceptional Children's budget, our current spending trends, and our key departmental highlights. Tonight, I'm going to update you on the focus where we are financially at mid-year, what our expenditure trends indicate, and the steps being taken to ensure fiscal responsibility while continuing to meet student needs and compliance requirements. Our budget overview, the state EC budget totals, we have $2.9 million. We've expended 1.6, and we have a remaining balance of 1.2 million. And of course, these funds again are spent with salaries, benefits, related service, and transportation. Our federal funding, we get 1.1 million. Our expenditures are 540,000, and the remaining balance is 610,000. These funds are used again for instructional staff salaries and benefits. Our Medicaid, I've added that funding in there. Ms. Bethea and myself were able to budget that money. Right now, we have a budget of $594,932.35. Woohoo! Yay!
That's awesome.
I know it is. Yeah, it makes you feel good. I'm telling you, I got good news tonight. Okay, I got good news. So just hold on. It is. It is when you got good news. Expenditures are from our Medicaid are $293,000, and our remaining balance is $301,000. These Medicaid has been sent for salaries, benefits, related service, transportation, and supplies. Our grant funding, this is the grant funding you already know about that we mentioned to you. We've gotten a total right now, I got more coming, but we got a total right now of $252,583. We've expended $88,025, and we've got a remaining balance of that of $164,557. Now remember that these grant funds are written for specific reasons. They're restricted, and they can only be used for what we wrote them for. So our trends, we do have a steady spending pattern. We are, if we keep going the way we're spending right now through January, we're going to be projected to have a $257,000 deficit by the year end. That is before last week when we got all this good news, and I'm getting ready to share with you. So last week, after the report was done, we received notice that a grant that we had written, it's called 118 grant. We wrote that grant for evaluations and professional development. We got the grant for $71,400.
Absolutely.
I know, I'm just cheering y'all. You just don't know. We wrote a grant for NC SIP grant, and this grant focuses on professional development for co-teaching and literacy strategies. We received that grant. It's not a lot, but it's good. Every little bit counts. It's $5,500.
Awesome.
So we also got a letter last week from our last quarter. I'm telling you, you just don't know. Y'all listen, keep listening. I'm so excited about the things to get to share to you tonight. Y'all, almost every day we were getting a good letter, okay? So Dr. Atkinson got a letter about our Medicaid Fairbanks reimbursement. This goes to the last quarter, which was in December. We've not received this money yet. They always fund us in the rear, so I don't know when this money's coming, but we're looking forward to getting $72,525.69. So we're adding that to our Medicaid balance. Then Friday, the state reallocated our funds from our state funding from 24-25 school year, and they've given us additional $91,582.
There you go.
So I want you to see this was good stuff going. Plus, we also got notice, we wrote a regional grant from the Sand Hills to work on training our kindergarten and first grade teachers and administrators on challenging behaviors. We noticed an influx across the region, not just Bladen County, with challenging behaviors coming in our kindergarten and first grade. So we are getting a part of that grant, which was $560,000 that we wrote collectively as a region. So y'all, great things happened last week.
Absolutely.
So that does not, I know, I was so excited. That could not put all that information, well, we didn't have that information before I did the presentation. So just want to let you know that the great things, and maybe those will show up by your next board report. So overall, we've had a productive week in the Exceptional Children's Department. We've got physical gains, and we have 100% compliance as of last week, but to this morning, we had 2 students that were out of compliance. So we're working on those 2 students. So in closing, the Exceptional Children, we're closely monitoring our expenditures. We're trying to implement targeted physical controls to address the projected shortfall. I don't know how much of a shortfall is going to be now after we got all that news, so I'll keep you updated. But yes, we are working and trying, and thanks to Ms. Bethay, thanks to Ms. Brown, thanks to Dr. Axon, thanks to our administrators, thanks to our district leadership, because y'all, this is a team. We get together, we talk about it. We pick at me because I'm broke. So, you know, it's always an inside joke, but we are working together to do things to make this work for these services for these children. And it's all about the children
Thank you, ma'am.
and our
Thank you,
staff.
Ms. Smith. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Our kids don't like eating that.
9.4, 2026, 2027 local budget priorities, Dr. Axis.
Thank you, Chairman, Secretary, and board members, for speaking about money. Continuing on here. It's around that time again to start to work on a local budget. I know the county departments are also in that same process. I did provide for you in board docs a copy of last year's budget message, last year's capital needs request, and last year's proposed local budget summary and local budget. That's in board docs for you. Obviously, we know that we did not net anything additional besides $50,000 toward the coaching supplements last year in terms of current expense. I'm also a firm believer in you have not because you asked not. And so what I did is, again, this is just a planning document for us to kind of talk through, because we'll need some direction if these are some things you want to continue reviewing, some additional things you'd like for us to review. And so we took, if you, in board docs, we have a 26-27 initial proposed local budget increase. This is just a planning sheet. Again, just rolling over some of those things, adding a couple that we knew right off the top. And so if you look at the local proposed budget increase, the document should be there from board docs. What we had last year, we moved over the recruitment bonus. This was a federal match of $30,000 to local $30,000 for hard staff. That was written in for last year. Assistant principal pay, we shared last year that the state does not fully fund assistant principals. I think we generate funding for, I think it's 6. And so, you know, asking to get us back. At one point, you know, we don't have a state budget. Part of the negotiation was to provide at least one assistant principal for 100 ADM. They did not get that far last year. And so obviously we've had to utilize other funding sources to try to keep assistant principals. And so that was to ask for local. You know, if you looked at comparative amounts, we did, I think, add 15%, because we don't know with retirement increasing. Obviously, last year's amount, that was, we had increases. Sure, that's going to go up again. You know, insurance also went up, and all those benefits there. The coaching supplements, we were informed last year that after the fact that was not a recurring pot, that was a one-time amount. And so you'll see, just again, for planning to put there, we listed $100,000 to make that from one-time funding, obviously, to be a continuing rolling source, and increase that. They really did not net much when you divide that up across the amount of coaches on that. Teacher assistant, last year we had written in for 5 additional, and that was to put 1 at each second grade team. Again, in the mindset and y'all's direction on this, just want to put down, you know, years past, many years ago, you had teacher assistant help all the way through 3rd grade. And so just for planning, wrote down to take that number to 10. That will be 1 for the second. You know, right now we have kindergarten has 1 in each classroom, 1st grade. So share one, which would be to add a 2nd and a 3rd grade to support those teachers. I think we can all think back in our early years. I know when we had teacher assistants in every classroom, what that benefit was. That's another area the state has not done the best job on. And so that was a rollover that was listed from last year. The teacher assistant, a teacher program, that's encouraging current teacher assistants who would like to go on and continue their education to help offset some of that cost. We had a partnership with UNCP and actually BCC, talked with Dr. Lee and trying to stuff that even some more. Basically, the cost of tuition now is $500 for the semester. And so what we want to do is if we have teacher assistants, we already have some funds entitled to that we help for folks that are, when they apply for that to help advance degrees. But the goal in this special allocation, obviously, because these are most likely teacher assistant folks who are going to come back and stay in your system. And so that would also support them with a travel stipend, paying for books to help assist that. That will be a grow your own, so those folks would come back and support us in our district and become teachers. We have a lot of great folks who are teacher assistants in our system, and sometimes you can go in classrooms and see them up working about, and sometimes you wonder if someone was on the outside, which person is the teacher. I mean, we have some folks that are really engaged, and so that was part of that. That's also part of the county strategic plan. Obviously, salary and benefits for local employees, we know that's a continual moving, anticipating. It's again, based on what they shared with us last year, we know already these costs were not realized in anybody's budget because we didn't get a new state budget. Obviously, when it comes to employees, regardless of the funding source, if a person's paid from federal, state, or local, they should be entitled to the same. So with the local paid employees, you have to realize that additional cost. That's up to $214,000. Just as everybody has realized in their homes and when they go to the grocery store, operation costs have gone up dramatically. Insurance, utilities, legal services, things of that nature. You'll see an increase from the previous amount there. Two things we added on this list just because they've been in some conversation. I know, again, this is for us to kind of think through and prioritize. Obviously, at the time, we had some concerns about EC funding. That's definitely dropped a lot from $900,000 to there, and we're so thankful for that. But we also know that, with grant funding, that is time limited. That might be, so we understand that, and Ms. Whitesmith can share with referrals and things like that, that's always going to be something we got to think about even in the future. And so just for planning, penciled in, requesting $450,000 local dollars to help the increasing learning needs and gaps in federal and state funding. We're hopeful. Part of the legislative priorities for the State Board of Education, State Superintendent, is to move EC to a funded model. For example, rather than it being a capped at right now it's capped at 13% of your ADM. That's the max you can get. We know right now, Ms. Whitesmith shared last month, our Bladen's numbers at 16%. So you already have 3% of students that we don't receive any money for based on ADM. And so we know that we have an obligation to provide those services, and the law doesn't tell us, tell certain entities like federal or state, you have to provide it. It says that we have to provide that education, and specifically those accommodations. And so, realizing that we have some one-time money, maybe putting a dollar amount in our budget request locally on that as well. Again, not knowing what the state's going to do. But that was a consideration. Also, we know that we've heard conversation too about the pre-K teachers previously not receiving that bonus, and so we have put down the list that local pick up, because it would have to be local funds. You cannot use state or federal. That we would request $45,000. We have 9. Is that correct, Ms. Brown? 9 pre-K teachers. 9 pre-K teachers. Again, that amount changes every year, but it averages somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000. And so to request those funds so that we could use local dollars because that's the only teacher group that did not receive that bonus when it was done with the state K-12. And so to write that in our budget request as well, so that our county can fund that moving forward, so those folks are not left out moving forward. And so, I don't understand the rationale why the state did that. Pre-K is used when you're looking at ADM when it comes to principal pay, but it's almost like sometimes they pick and choose when they want to use pre-K or not use pre-K numbers, which is totally unfair because those teachers are also providing education to our students. And so those, again, some things that would carry over. A couple things we know we've mentioned here recently: EC funding, the pre-K. There may be other things. Now, this is not capital. We have something separate for that. Those projects we kind of talked through last year, rolling some of those things over. But right now, if say we say, okay, these are things we wanted to see last year, maybe we didn't get them, things we know we got to have, EC pre-K. Right now, this would be almost 2.2 million over the current budget request that we have, or current budget that we receive. Are these things needed? I believe so. I'm open if there's some things that the board is interested in, and again, this would be on the local side, not the facilities and capital. I'm gonna go to that point here in just a moment. But this would be in the current expense. I know we're not voting on anything tonight. Obviously, I could begin the process. We could work through drafting a local budget with this additional things in here, because we have to present a request. I'll have to write a budget message also to go with that. If there's other things you all think about in terms of current expense, I'd be open for us to hear those now, or if that's something you want to send me, we can work in. You all have to approve that budget request anyway, so we've got some time, but I thought it would be beneficial for us to get it out on the table tonight so folks could be thinking, and then we could look at, do we want to take something off? We could always work through that. We could have a special meeting if we needed to after the meeting in March, if we wanted to make some changes at that point again and come back. I think the goal for us is to try to get it to the county, if possible, by the end of March, 1st of April. Typically, I think we've finally approved one usually in April, but the sooner we can work through it and get that to them, because their departments are working in the month of March to develop, like EMS, fire, those kind of things. We'll be doing that. If you all allow me, I'll move over to the capital side. Again, rolling over those things that were in the 25, 26 had not been realized, and then, obviously, some other things, and in consideration for a couple of things that Mr. Lennon's going to talk about tonight that I took off just to see what the board's pleasure is with those tonight. But on the capital needs last year, some things rolled over. Obviously, the multi-purpose buildings / classrooms that we've sought out the needs-based capital fund with the local match, obviously. There's about 1.7, 1.8. We're hoping any time should arrive. That is going to the county. I think it may come to us first. We have to give that to them. That's the tax credits back on the Tar Heel project. Those have all been filed. We're just waiting for them to come back. The goal in that was and the county had committed that they would use that toward the required 5% match. So again, just keeping that on the radar so that's, not an issue. Again, we escalated the cost because we know the longer things wait, the more building, we'd have to refresh pricing on that. I think it was originally at 1.65. Again, we won't know until, we get closer to that point. That would have to go out for bid anyway. We asked last year for support on activity buses, 2 new activity buses per year. We did increase that cost. It was $325 last year to $375, again, to cover any kind of cost inflation. That was a request. This was kind of an end-all, be-all list that we had last year. Again, we felt, I think all of us felt that it was better to put it on the table so they knew all that those needs were. You've got the field houses that were originally promised in the construction of East and West Bladen 20-plus years ago. Those were asked to put back on the docket. We had those previously as well. We had the track options, one for East and West Bladen, and also doing one, or doing one across the street. We know that annual cost is listed there. We talked about the safety entrances, the vestibules in schools. Again, you've all obviously been at Tar Heel with the new construction, how that is set up. But doing that in all of our buildings, we're looking at trying to leverage some safety dollars, which we have not received this year's allocations, only the SRO portion. Is that right, Ms. Brown? This year, that office moved to the State Bureau of Investigation. So the School Safety Division that used to be in DPI is now under SBI. So it's made it kind of complicated. In fact, I think when we got the first SRO allocation, it was actually a paper check or direct deposit. Typically, we get things through the allotment system. And so we've got some dollars because they did not renew or do not have a new state budget. We're not convinced we're going to be getting anything right now because we're kind of on hold with that. So hopefully, Ms. Brown and then we get an update next week. They have a meeting with some of those folks, talk about the BTAM process. Hopefully, they'll talk about safety funding. Carry over some vehicles needs that were there as well, previously also listed. A general allotment for repairs and maintenance and furniture, that's just a general amount that's usually listed there. You can use local dollars for that as well, but again, fluid, that's increased slightly from what it was last year. Additional item, and I'm not sure order, they're numbered, but they're not in any kind of order of priority, it's just a master list. Again, one thing that was added, and the county had done this at the county part, what we're seeing, thinking about making playgrounds accessible for students with disabilities. Most of our playgrounds equipment is not. And obviously, part of that was to look at adding additional equipment at elementary schools that would be is considered an inclusive playground, so that if there's a child in a wheelchair or a child that have a loss of a limb, that could also engage in play and recreation just like all other students would be able to. And so that's estimated there. That's not on last year's, it was added for this time. And we think there may be some grant opportunities for that too. And so that might, again, we just want to list things before them. You had the auditorium renovation at Blair Middle School that was on there previously. That's been listed again. We have some paving projects that were listed there. Mr. Lennon, we did receive from, I'm not sure who does the inspections, concerns about the bleachers at Elizabethtown Middle School and safety there. The bottom is actually in the most worst shape. Top has issues. Tonight, he actually is going to bring to you all about getting the bottom level taken care of. The top level would be written in potentially for a future year. And that will also make them ADA compliant with the necessary aisles and things. Right now, there's no railings. And so, again, they were grandfathered in because that's original bleachers that were in that area in the 1970s when East Bladen was first opened across the street. We carried over, this is actually specific at West Bladen with the concern about access to the restrooms there for outdoor. And then obviously the painting rotation that's there. Again, most of this stuff is really carried over from previous or clarified. But if there's some things, and I'm trying to look to see real quick. I don't know that we have to give them capital outlay at the same time, so it'd be some, but I can verify that. Obviously, with new county manager, processes may be a little bit different. But just want to kind of put these out. There may be others. Again, we're still kind of waiting on some decisions by the board on different various things, obviously, and you all, will need to adopt a local budget request. Capital outlay, I think, is really more for information because that is based off of sales tax revenue, unless they decide to float a bond, which has not worked very well in the past. Sales tax referendum, last time was a 1/4 cent, but I haven't heard if they're looking at doing anything like that. But, we could approach this if you all have some ideas or suggestions tonight, or if you want over the next few days to send some things that we can work into a draft, obviously, for you all to kind of look at in terms of a draft budget or even a draft list of priorities. And some things may change, again, depending on some direction the board may go. But, kind of open whichever way you want to proceed in terms of local current expense or capital outlay or both.
Dr. Atkinson, I have a couple follow-up questions. First, let me start by saying I do like the fact that we have the pre-K teachers, EC pre-K teachers, all of that hopefully they'll be eligible to receive the supplemental funding. I think that's great. As I was looking at the capital needs requests from 25-26, I saw that many of those carried over to 26-27. Now, I think it's very detailed, but there was one thing, and some of the things that I wrote down to mention, paved driveway in Clarkton and Bladen Lakes, $500,000. Since it's not on the board, I'm just going to read it out. A playground for all elementary schools, totaling $2.5 million. Track option for East Bladen, West Bladen, and Elizabethtown Middle School, $2.1 million per track, and if you include 3 schools, that's $6.3 million. There's a field house option, $2.5 million for East Bladen and $2.5 million for West Bladen, so that's $5 million total. What I don't see in the capital needs is, there was a document that was sent out some time ago in regards to needs in East Arcadia and some of the repairs that need to take place at that school. But I don't see East Arcadia on here. So was there a reason why they were omitted?
And again, this is why I just, we're waiting to see what the board's direction is gonna be before we did, because this is just, draft, we didn't do anything. And so, you know, that was just listing everything presently that we knew. We were waiting to see what the board's pleasure was gonna be regarding East Arcadia. And so we would be able to add anything that would be on there that would be specific. I know windows was one thing that was on the list, septic system, and so those will be things we would
I
have
think
to.
it would have been easier to take those items off, and then that way we'd have a true depiction, and then versus going back and adding things after if the school does stay open. I was just wondering why it wasn't
And
mentioned here. I
this
saw
is-
other schools. I saw
right, and
Clark
this
School
is-
Discovery, Blaine Lakes, the high schools, Liftown Middle School, Elizabethtown Primary School, but I did not see anything in relation to East Arcadia. I didn't know if a decision had been made or
No.
if I missed something.
No, no decision made. Again, like I said, most things rolled over. A lot of things didn't get done, obviously, because, you know, the funding. But yeah, you know, and I know that was also in the study, so and this one is not necessarily budget. This won't be a budget request. It's just be information of large-scale items that would need to be done, because there's no way with the amounts of some of these things that we'd be able, I mean, it's just, they don't give us enough every year. But I think what we had done even last year was just kind of make a master list. But, again, you know, whatever the board's decision is
Yeah, I think
regarding moving forward, we'll add that on there.
I think the argument is that those items were so severe that the school couldn't operate or function at full capacity without those being, repairs taking place or upgrades taking place. And just not to see them on here was a bit confusing for me, that if it was so essential for the operational, for the operation of the school, and then not to see it here was just a little bit, I guess, unbalanced.
Well, and that was not the intent. I know that, you know, those items were listed in that study, but again, and this is not even, it just says planning list. And again, that's why it's very fluid. And I even thought about even just holding off on capital for now, but I went ahead and put what we had and things that we knew for specifically. And again, just holding off, waiting to see what the board's direction was gonna be, but there was no, other intent besides that.
Dr. Axon, I went back and looked at my notes from last year and the information that was submitted to board members for the capital outlay projects for 24-25. And as Mr. Thomas stated, as you go down the list, and it's very in detail, and there's not one item on here from East Arcadia School. I mean, we got everything from E-Town Middle School to Bladenboro Primary to West Bladen to East Bladen to the E-Town Primary, Media Center, and the list goes on and on. And I've got 2 pages full of actual capital outlay projects, and East Arcadia is not on here anywhere. I mean, if you want me to go down the list, it's removal, replacement of boiler system, E-Town Primary, plumbing repairs downstairs, the bathroom and the media room at West Bladen, plumbing services, repairs at Bladen Primary, Bladenboro Primary, labor and materials for outside lights, East Bladen and West Bladen, removal and install, new tile, East Bladen, parts to repair, new pump and boiler at Bladenboro Primary. A lot of things on here from the Bladenboro area. Middle school, field house maintenance, Bladenboro Middle School, Clarkton School Discovery, E-Town Middle, labor and maintenance for 4 ticket booths, Bladenboro Middle, Clarkton School Discovery, E-Town Middle, and the list goes on and on. And then I go to the second page, and that list total $669,565.61. Then I go to the second page, and we got everything from painting for the locker rooms in E-Town Middle School, painting on the field house outside the back, at the back building, walls, 12 6-foot steel outdoor park benches. We got Ford F-250 truck maintenance, And the list goes on and on. That list is $134,106.82. This is our official report for 24-25. We don't have one thing listed at all with East Arcadia School. Not one thing listed. And I didn't number it. I can sit here and count the number of items that we have on both pages, but it's well over 30 items.
Mr. Lynn, is that the report you shared with the projects that have been completed? Is that a copy of that? Which one was that? Let me- Right.
It's not on this report. And I do remember that being looked at. I did talk to Mr. Lynn during that time. Because at that point in time, we could not utilize the backside of that building because we had major HVAC system issues in that part of the building. And I actually went over there and walked through the building and saw the condition of it. And after it was completed, I went back and looked at it, and we were able to start using a part of the building, not the entire building, but a part of that side of the
Right.
building.
And that was to get
But
the.
and then there was some
vacuum.
painting done over there as well.
Right.
Some painting done over there as well that need to be done. But we don't have one thing on this list, and this is generated from the district office.
And I would need to see that then, because let me see what.
All I'm saying is, I think it's very evident that school is being neglected. And we need to do something about it. We're responsible for that. We need
Well, I
to do
know
something about it.
Project-wise, also, I'm not sure what was, there was something done at the gym as well.
Well, I'll
The
be more than
pre-K
happy to share
abatements
this with you.
and the, yeah, I'd like to see that, because I'm
Be more than happy to share.
what
it.
I have
But-
right here, I don't have that in this part.
Not,
That's why I
not to
want,
cut
that's
you
what,
off,
if
but
that was the projects that Mr. Lennon had, if that was previous ones you had shared. I know you had brought a list of projects, a couple months or so ago. So I don't know if that might be what
but
that
my
is or not.
question in this is, how much of this was actually completed? I know there's been quite a few repairs done to E-Town Middle School because I personally walked over there and saw the holes in the walls and then under the windows where the animals were crawling in under the windows into the school system, the whole nine. And I said something about it. Since then, those window frames have been replaced, repaired, and new windows have been put in that building. But there's a lot of things that we need to be making sure of, and I'm not gonna put this on the maintenance department totally because they answer to the district office. And we have to make sure that we are accountable. As board members, we are accountable to make sure that the district is functioning properly, that the needs of these kids and of our staff members as well are being met. We're putting them in a bad situation where you got animals crawling in a building through a windowsill. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. So all I ask is that we go back and look at this information and we bring forth what needs to be done and get a understanding of what's been completed and what's not being completed. And then we also do what needs to be done at East Arcadia School. It's evident that the reason that school is in the condition it's in is because we failed them. We have failed them. That's obvious.
Now, and some of those items that were listed on the study were things that would need to be done in the near future. Potentially, Mr. Lennon can speak to that as it relates, but I know it's not the item for this now, with the septic and that kind of thing. Those, and that will be necessary, it would have been replaced previously, but would need to be replaced moving forward. But there again, I'd like to see what you've got there, because I don't know if that's a report of something that's been
And
completed.
there's more information that I've got, because I keep my information from each meeting. I'm gonna go back and look at the rest of my stuff, and I'm gonna pull over the other reports I have, and I'm gonna find the rest of it.
Let me see that.
That's my intent.
Because I'm not sure if, again, I don't know if that's the report that he had or what that was, so I need to take a look at it to see.
But I thank you, Mr. Lennon, for everything that you've done in your department, because like I said, we're not gonna put it on them. They can only do what we allow them to do.
All right, moving on, 9.5, maintenance project, at East Blaine High School drainage band room repair, HVAC Clarkton School of Discovery and Blamer Middle School gymnasiums, NC Public Repair and Renovation Funds, Mr. Benny Lena. Yes, sir.
On 9.5, what this is just stuff doing it, because I had to get quotes and bring them before you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just stuff that's coming up forward, and then y'all vote on it. So it's not saying it's gonna be done, but it's just some of the major projects, maintenance projects is, like I said, East Blake family, it's gotta be fixed. When it rains hard, it's 2 or 3 inches of water, so it's gotta be dug out in the front
Yeah, yeah,
and redone.
yeah, I'm aware of that.
And then the other one is,
Thank you, Ms. Ellie.
I'm sorry. Clarkton and Blamer Gym's HVAC system in it. Yes, sir.
They have HVAC systems in there,
No, sir.
is that a priority?
That's on y'all. I'll bring it before you. Y'all, I mean, y'all have to vote. Anything I do, y'all vote. So, I mean, y'all in charge of that. Like I said, my job is I do whatever y'all tell me to do.
Well,
Y'all
one
vote
thing-
on it, y'all approve it to a certain extent. Let me say that. Not everything you tell me to do, but let me rephrase that. But,
The one thing, Mr. Lennon, that was on us as well, and I'm gonna let you finish. When we got rid of these committees, and it was being, if this stuff was being handled a whole different way, certain members wanted to get rid of committees and didn't want to do the committees. When we had the facilities committee, we could track this stuff a lot better. That's the point in having a committee, so that that committee knows exactly what's going on within the district from month to month, from quarter to quarter, and they can report back to the board members, and that way every board member don't have to be there. But the people that play a part in that on a daily basis, from the district office to your office, to the board members that's on that committee, can report back to the board and let them know exactly where we're targeting things and what direction we're going in, so we don't end up in this issue. So I appreciate everything you're doing. I know the situation. Thank you, sir.
Well, Mr. Leonard, the reason I asked that, because I think that those burners that those ladies need in those cafeterias are more important than HVAC. And those schools were not built for HVAC. Those gymnasiums were not built for HVAC. Because nobody's going to school in the summertime. You know what I'm saying?
You talking about the steamer, Mr. Rhoda?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we've got that part worked out, is what the district has informed us of. Is that right, Mr. Atkinson?
That is correct, it's been ordered.
That's been ordered, so
We
that part's been
purchased a
taken care
steamer
of.
for Bladen Lakes.
But once
Yes,
again,
sir.
it points out neglect. That went on for 5 years. That points out neglect that should have never happened. Never should have happened.
now the steamer system falls under cafeteria. That's not maintenance.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We totally understand. We
I
totally
got you.
understand.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
We
and
totally
a
understand
lot of
that.
their things obviously go with their revenue, so, but
We totally
that's why in fact, I think we even said we were gonna take care of that at a capital outlay, just to go ahead and get it in place, because, not to impact. I know Child Nutrition also has a freezer or two that may have, has having issues. We're not sure if it's gonna be replacement, so,
2 of them.
yeah, so we said we took care of that. That would orderly go through their child nutrition procurement, but we wanted to try to get it fixed and get it taken care of, so, but that's been done.
I was getting calls about, you get an East Arcadia steamer, which they say it wasn't good either. When you close
I didn't
that
know
school,
about that.
You gonna move that one from, East Arcadia and take it to Bladen Lake.
There's a brand new one on the way. In fact, it should be about, probably here, they told us about 7 to 10 business days, they'd come and install it. It's coming, from Fayetteville. So,
And if I remember correctly, the quote on that was about 20 grand.
it was less. It was
A
like
little
10
less.
or 11,000, I believe.
That's correct.
Yeah,
The
it was-
first one, the
right.
first quote that we did was like $20,000. But
Right.
then y'all found one that was about 11,000.
Right, and the health department director approved that one because she looked at the volume of meals, so we wanted to make sure we got something that was gonna work for them, so.
That's correct.
So that's why we went ahead and took care of it, so it wouldn't be on child nutrition side, because, we wanted to get that in there. And one thing too, that, on the couple of these, may be a part of, it's part of the lottery, but it's not direct lottery. It's the, renovation, and there's some strict guidelines, but it might be where some or all of this or whatever could come out of that fund rather than it touching capital outlay. And so we'll have to kind of evaluate that. We gotta get some more information about, y'all know sometimes there's some different guidelines and restrictions on that, but You know, want to, I've got the paperwork, but we want to make sure, because sometimes they require, like, for example, Mr. Lennon, I know you can kind of share about East Blade, and you're going to have an engineer kind of work through some of that. Was that correct?
Yeah.
So, because you're dealing with changing the landscape and all that. And I know that a lot of times with DPI, they want that to be done before they'll approve using those funds.
I know personally, the work that we're talking about doing at Blainboro Middle School, you're gonna need engineers in every part of that. Every single, cause you talking about basically redesign,
Yeah,
and that's expensive.
it is. It
When
is.
you talking about an engineer, you pay an engineer about $1,500 just to sign his name. That's how important he is. Just to sign his name.
And we had, they required those for our safety vestibule review. We had to have them on because, and then Mr. Lynn, if you want to share it, about that, it's kind of an ongoing thing too, is on that, needs
Yeah,
to put the safety vestibules in.
Yeah, the vestibules in the schools that we're putting for safety. I met with the fire marshal, I met with Matt, the building inspector, and we had a meeting the other week with an engineer. So we gotta pay for those engineering drawings
Oh, yeah,
because
oh, yeah, you gonna pay
fire
dearly too.
marshal and the building inspector said to cover the school and cover everybody if it's engineered drawing and building
That's right.
specs.
Puts all
So,
responsibility
and I
on
just got a total for that. That engineer drawing for those 6 schools is $17,500.
Got to.
That's what he said. So, yeah, engineers are expensive, but when you're doing structure and you're building inside, that's what you have to do.
That's right.
The name of it is, if we're gonna build or add on, is the safety of kids. When a kid
Absolutely.
get hurt, you can close the doors.
Yep.
So, but I don't want nobody's children hurt, so.
That's right.
So if I get it done, it's gonna be done right, and if it takes an engineer, we just have to go with an engineer.
Those are some things that Mr. Lennon is going to work through and bring back to you all too.
Okay. I would have a question for you, Mr. Lennon. Thank you so much for the information that you shared, but it goes back to the facilities, transportation, cafeteria, safety, and security committee, and I think we have Mr. Dennis Edwards as the chairman, Mr. Gary Roder, and Russ, and Brown, Crystal Bryant, and Mr. Bill Lennon. Mr. Edwards, will the committee plan to meet to go over some of these facility upgrades and some of the things that Mr. Lennon discussed?
Yes, I think next month for the, meeting, we're gonna meet.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And I'm gonna share that in my report,
Yes, sir.
kind of a committee schedule to go have some things set. But I'll share that a little bit later when we get there.
Thank you, Mr. Lennon. Appreciate you.
And what I would ask, Mr. Edwards, if you don't mind, respectfully, you being the chairman of the committee, if other board members have concerns that are coming from the public and other staff members within the district that they may have knowledge of that maybe we just didn't get, or Mr. Lynn didn't get, or Mr. Atkinson didn't get, can we, I think it's important that when these committee meetings are held, whatever committee it is, that the entire board knows when these committee meetings are gonna happen. That way we can share information with other board members that are gonna be on that committee, share those concerns so that committee can look at those concerns before it gets to the point that it is now. That way, we're working together. We're working together to make sure that those committees are totally included in everything that we find out, and whether it becomes true, or whether it's found out to be true, or be valid, whatever it may be, but they have the chance to look into it, and it's an opportunity to fix it before it gets too bad. Can we please make sure, Dr. Atkinson, that we do that, and Mr. Edwards, that we know and that we're able to contact you or other members that's on those committees, and that's every committee. That would be even the EC committee. If you know of an issue, contact the EC committee members and let them know so we can look at that stuff. That's what we're supposed to be doing, I would say. If anybody disagrees, then you have the chance to speak now, forever hold your peace.
Chairman, if I can,
Yes, sir.
what we're going to do, just like we had the student services and EC was ahead of the board meeting tonight. That's kind of the process we're kind of looking at for these as a suggestion. I think the chairs are kind of looking at that. But what we're going to do is just like tonight, the notes from tonight's committee meeting will be shared with all board members, so you all can see what the
Thank you.
committee discussed, and we'll continue that. And that will be, again, if there's something, that's a good suggestion, if there's something that, for example, I think right now the draft is facilities will be before the next one. And so if there's something on facilities, or even like looking through this capital outlay, that'd be a good time for that to come, and, you know, we'd be able to share those notes with everyone too. But that's the plan. Also, we are, just like a regular board meeting, those are advertised and they are open to the public. So we actually had a member of the public that came into the committee meeting tonight up
Sure
front.
did.
And so, you know, citizens can come in for that, to listen to those.
Transparent.
There's no forum for like comment necessarily, but it has an agenda, but it's more informal. And so, you
Stayed the
know,
whole meeting.
those will be advertised out there, as well. And so, but we will, as soon as these notes are ready, I don't think we have to wait for them to be approved by the committee. It won't necessarily be minutes. It'll be notes. Then we'll do a set of minutes that the committee will approve at their next meeting. But, probably by the end of the week, we can share with you all, give us time to kind of, I was trying to make bullet points so I can narrate that to be a little more fluid, so you all could, everybody that wasn't there can kind of understand what was discussed.
Thank you, Ms. Lynn, appreciate you.
Ms. Mayor, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay.
It didn't take your time. We appreciate everything that you and your department is doing. We know that your department is being kind of, cut back quite a bit since you became the man, as I call it. But we appreciate everything you're doing. We see you out there working hard every day. Please tell your staff members that this board appreciates them.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, 9.6, board attorney contract.
We had received a request to discuss the, board attorney contract.
Yes, sir.
I put that on the agenda,
Yes, sir.
and, I don't think we should discuss what's on my mind about the board attorney. I think it should be discussed in closed session. You can't do it?
No, ma'am, no, sir.
Okay, well, let's go with it. Well, let's go with it then. I wanna know how we're gonna go moving forward, you know. I guess that law firm is an interim. Your law firm is an interim, right?
Yes, it's my understanding that our firm has an interim contract for attorney services, legal services with your board.
But I've not seen it.
It was sent out on email, sir, when we went through the transition.
We can rescind it.
I mean, we can resend it out, but it was sent out. Yes, sir.
It was an interim agreement, and obviously it's month to month, so the board could change at any point or go out for bids.
Month to month, Jason?
It is month to month, so it's just an interim agreement, yeah. So it's month to month. So if the board said, if you all wanted to go out to do an RFP for legal services, you all could do that. If you all wanted to continue with Eric Smith or whoever, you had that option too. So it is month to month, so we would have to, if the board wanted to do something different or put it out for bid to see what you could get, you all could decide that, and that could be done. And you all would we put out the request for proposals, see what comes in. You all could review those. You could have presentations. So it could go, you know, whichever direction, but it is the interim agreement, month to month.
Could you rescind it out again, Jason, please?
Yes,
No, I mean, if you have it, you can just tell it to me tonight.
yeah, it was, I want to think June or July. Let me find it.
Yeah,
when that was
it's
done.
been a minute.
Yeah, it was on the board. Give me a second. Let me look back, and it might have been the old board docs. Give me 1 second.
Mr. Thomas is trying to pull it up now. He's putting it in search. Should be
Yeah.
able to pull it up. You got this to put it on, keep pulling it out.
Let's see.
Should have been around, May, June, July, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. It's, the June board meeting, June 9th. It's a Bladen retainer agreement. I've got it here. It was approved by the board in,
So is Dr. Atkinson, she have it up?
Sure, yeah, it's, yeah, about 2 pages. And so it's a contract for the provision of interim legal services between the Bladen County Board of Education and Tharrington Smith. This contract's provision for interim legal services contract is made and entered Tharrington Smith LLP, Tharrington Smith Law Firm, and Limited Liability Partnership organized and existing under the laws of North Carolina with corporate offices at 150 Fayetteville Street, Suite 1900, Raleigh, North Carolina 27603, and Bladen County Board of Education, title Board of Education, body corporate organized and existing under the laws of North Carolina with general control and supervision of Bladen County Schools, a local school administrative unit with corporate offices at 1489 U.S. Highway 701 South, Elizabethtown, North Carolina. Clause 1, general legal services. Upon request of the Board of Education, the superintendent or any authorized designee of the Board of Education or Superintendent Tharrington Smith provide legal service on behalf of Bladen County Schools at the following hourly rates: $260 per hour for partners, $225 per hour for associates, and that was Attorney Weinstein's rate, and $110 per hour for paralegals. Tharrington Smith will submit bills monthly for services rendered during the preceding 1 month period at the hourly rate stated above with no additional retainer fee. Costs, any out-of-pocket expense, including photocopies, postage, court costs, title insurance, long-distance telephone calls, or similar expenditures incidental to the provision of legal services, be billed at their actual cost. Mileage for car travel incidental to the provision of legal services be billed at the then prevailing internal revenue service mileage rate. Background checks per section 14-208.18 of North Carolina General Statutes. Tharrington Smith shall conduct sex offender registry checks of each of its owners, employees, agents, or subcontractors who will enter Bladen County Schools property or attend any official school-sponsored event at the Bladen County Schools by providing services pursuant to this contract. Registry checks shall include state sex offender and public protection registration program, the state sexually violent predator registration program, and the National Sex Offender Registry. Tharrington Smith shall provide written certification upon request, and if individual owners, employees, agents, or subcontractors is not listed on any of the registries, and shall not assign any individual who is listed on any of the registries to provide legal services pursuant to this contract. Upon request of the Board of Education or Superintendent, Tharrington Smith will provide sufficient background information on any of its individual owners, employees, agents, or subcontractors assigned to perform services under this contract so that the Board of Education or Superintendent can run a criminal background check on such individuals. Board of Education or Superintendent may, at its sole discretion, prohibit any individual representative of Tharrington Smith from providing services under this contract based on results of any such background check. Excuse me. Restricted companies list Tharrington Smith represents that as of the date of the execution of this contract is not included on the list of companies determined to be engaged in investment activities in Iran by North Carolina State Treasurer pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 147-86.58, or on the list of companies determined to be engaged in a boycott of Israel by North Carolina State Treasurer pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 147-86.81. Tharrington Smith will respect the confidentiality of any legally confidential records it obtains from Bladen County Schools. It will release any such records to third parties only in accordance with laws. Specifically, Tharrington Smith's knowledge of any education records about specific students or potentially identifiable information derived from such records, as those terms are defined by the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, under USC 1232G and 34 CFR Part 99 are subject to FERPA's confidentiality and disclosure requirements.
Jason,
Yes, sir.
excuse me. I would like to know how many hours did Tharrington Smith charge us for in the last month?
Okay, we can get that for you.
Can we get before the end of the meeting, please?
We'll have to see when the last invoice was. We could,
I said, can we get it before the end of the meeting?
Ms. Bethay can check while we're in closed session, see if we have the invoice for this month. We get you the most previous invoice.
Dr. Atkinson, I do see that was on the agenda June 9th, and it was actually item, what was that? Where is it? Saw it just somewhere ago.
Was it 9.02?
Yeah, 9.02.
Yes, sir.
I see all the attachments to it. It has a lot of policies and everything else, but I don't have the actual contract.
Yeah, it's,
I remember us talking about it, but it's not included in this email, so I don't think it was sent to all
well,
of us.
it's in board docs.
So we need to go back to board
Yes,
docs.
sir. I'm gonna
think
download
this
it
may
real
have
quick,
been
I'm gonna
before
email
we
it to
were-
you all real fast.
Yeah, this was before we-
You just read the whole contract.
Well, we still got some more to go, I didn't get finished. If you want me to go ahead and finish it, or I can. if
Let's
you want me
just
to-
email it. Just
email it,
email it out. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me send that to you all right now. I'll send it to your email. And while we're in closed session, I'll get Ms. Bethea to pull and our last invoice, and I'll provide that for y'all. We can get a copy of it for you.
And Dr. Axel,
Thank you,
while
sir.
you're reading that, you caught out quite a few items as far as, travel expenses, tax information, and so forth and so on. But I didn't hear what the hourly rate was that we're actually paying.
The hourly rate was announced, it was talked about in the first.
Whatever the
Yeah.
IRS current rate is at whatever time is what,
Correct.
oh, yes, sir.
I just wanted to make sure,
Correct.
You were reading so fast, I didn't catch you.
But I'm sending that to you all right now.
Thank you, sir.
That way you ain't got to go back. Going back through board docs is cumbersome sometimes, but it'll be a whole lot easier for y'all to see it that way.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Everybody good on that? All right. We'll move on to, action item 10.1, North Carolina School Board Association Legislative Committee nomination, Dr. Atkinson.
Thank you, Chairman, Singletary, board members. Let me get back to
Excuse me,
this.
going back to Mr. Lennon, the information that he was supposed to be giving us, are we supposed to be, voting on that information for him to be able to move forward, or was that just an update on what he's currently done?
That's an update on things he's working on.
He's working on.
Yes, sir.
So those items have already been approved.
We haven't done anything with, no, he's getting some
No, sir.
pricing and all. It's just that he's looking into those things.
Okay, I just want to bring clarity on that. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Let me get back to this month. All right, one second. Okay, and so received an email from the North Carolina School Board Association. They're encouraging school boards to nominate one of its members to serve as an at-large member of the North Carolina School Board Association Legislative Committee. They've got to have the name by the end of March, so we could do it tonight, or if y'all wanted to table it to next month. Either way, we just got to get it to them. What's required, they sent out surveys to all the school board members in the state to kind of get some ideas about legislative priorities. There are 3 sessions that the individual who you all nominate to represent you all on this. There's a date in July in Raleigh, September 14th in Raleigh, and October 7th is a virtual. So there's 2 in-person meetings, and one will be virtual. Obviously, that will, reimburse travel for who will be representing us on that. They start at 10:30 and are finished by 3, so it wouldn't require an overnight stay, but those 2 be in Raleigh. So, if it's the board's pleasure to nominate someone among yourselves tonight, or if you want to table it and bring it back next month, I just got to have a name no later than next month so I can get it into to the School Board Association on y'all's behalf.
Like the board, like to entertain a nomination.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Anthony Thomas.
Got a nomination on the floor from Mr. Anthony Thomas. I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor by signifying by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Mr. Thomas, you're the
Well, that
legislative
caught me off
committee.
guard.
It'd be a better
That
day.
caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that. All right.
So, Mr. Thomas, I'll get you registered, either this evening or in the morning, and I'll make sure you got these dates on your calendar for these meetings, so,
We talked about.
thank you.
All right, moving on to 10.2, consideration of additional public hearing regarding proposed closure of East Arcadia School and consolidation with Clarkton School of Discovery.
I make a motion that we give them another hearing.
I second that
There's a
motion.
motion on the floor, there's a second, any discussion?
Yes. I do. I think that we've heard a lot of concerns over the last 2 meetings, and I think it's only fair that we would consider hosting another event down in East Arcadia, just to make sure that everyone, there may be some new developments, some more information that's not been shared at the previous meetings, and then that way we can actually go and make a well-informed decision.
All right, all those in favor of considering the additional public hearing regarding?
Chairman, if we could we do, could I request to have a show of hands?
Sure.
A vote
And could we also state, instead of considering, could we state that in all in favor, if it's okay with you, Chairman, and all in favor of having the meeting, yea and nay, with show of hands, as Mr. Thomas has requested. We're not considering anything. It's either we do it or we don't. That's my request.
There's a motion on the floor to have an additional public meeting regarding proposed closure of East Arcadia School consolidation with Clarkton School of Discovery. As recommended that we vote by raising hand. All those in favor by raising your hand. All those opposed?
The ayes have it. You 3 opposed and the rest said yes.
All right, we'll get that scheduled.
Taking care of East Arcadia. Taking care of.
So moving on to 10.3, I guess that kind of,
Well,
Well, I guess we have to amend the agenda.
Amend the
or-
agenda.
Or you could, can you table that item?
we can table, let's make a motion, get a motion on the floor to table action 10.3 to the March meeting. Although, can I get a motion on the floor?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor by signifying by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Get that man a raise.
Things are, so we gonna have another forum before we get back to the next meeting.
Yes, sir, that's what we just approved, yes, sir. All right.
So you gonna give them notice this time?
Well, I think we give them notice every time, but I mean, I guess the biggest opportunity was picking which day is appropriate. So I guess we'll discuss that as to what's the best day, to do it.
I think the concerns that were brought forth by the members of the audience and members of East Arcadia area is that it was done 2 or 3 days prior to the Christmas holiday,
Yeah.
as well as it was done on a Wednesday, which everybody knows that's Christmas night. So could we make sure we don't make that mistake again?
We can pick a Tuesday or a Thursday, and I think the statute says 14 days, is that correct?
48 hours.
48 hours, okay, thank you, sir. So we'll make sure that's clarified when we put it out. Okay, moving on to,
One more thing, Mr. Secretary, if you will, please, sir. What ways will this information be given out?
it'll be put out via media, Facebook, our website page, just as it was before.
Okay.
If there's, we'll put it out so everybody should have access to it.
Can we also have it noted at the school, so if the parents come up, they can actually see it noted in the schools, and we put a sign up or something?
Yeah, they can post the same.
Yeah,
notice.
absolutely, yes, sir. We're glad to do that. Yes, sir.
And we can send a letter home to the parents as well, right?
And I'm sure they can do an all-call.
Absolutely, they can do an
Yes.
all-call. I'm
Yeah,
sure
let's do that.
principals
Let's
have an
do that.
all-call as
And
well.
We
probably
can actually
need
do
to
an
more
all-call
than
for
one,
the whole district.
because these parents do work, so let's do more than one all-call. Let's probably do 2.
At this forum, is it possible for us to, prior to, well, I guess a forum, we just sit and listen, but there were a lot of concerns, a lot of questions that folks had during that time, and I don't think they've received answers to their questions. So if we could, I guess, implement some type of process that we could answer those questions and get the information to the community.
Yeah, let's address that while we on the topic. I mean, that way we know how we're doing business. If you don't mind, sir.
Well, again, we're there to take information. I know there's been a
Right,
lot
so-
of questions and a lot of asks. as
Right, we're
far
there
as
to get
put- as
information,
far as
but when
putting
they
that
ask
information out.
questions-
So,
Right, when folks ask questions, taxpayers ask questions, and this,
Yeah.
in regards to their students' education, then we should provide some type of answer.
yes, sir, I got you. I'm with you.
They said something about doing, that sewer system. I'm wondering, did they get bids for doing that work that they said they had to do? Or just one bid?
Maybe Mr. Lennon can answer that. I don't know if he can or not. Mr. Lennon, can you enlighten us on that situation?
Bid all of it out, but I did ask the guy that does it, that,
I mean, but didn't we just, not to cut you off, but didn't we just do it at Tar Heel Middle School? We just did it up there for the concession stand.
Yeah, but you're talking about a concession stand versus an entire
It
school.
doesn't matter.
so
It's
yes, it
servicing
does.
the kids in that school.
I understand that, but you got,
Versus-
there's a lot more output in a school than there is a concession stand.
Exactly.
so.
That was my point I was trying to say before you
Okay.
cut me off.
I didn't cut you off, I was just trying to
Okay.
explain
And
to you
I
what
At
we're
the end of
doing.
the day,
So here's what we need to do, I think, is look at all that information, and we can bring it back, to March and just give an update on that.
Mr.
Mr. Lennon,
Lennon, do
if
you
you
remember
will,
what that,
appreciate it.
what that
I think
thing
it's,
cost?
I think it's easier. I think what was listed on the previous review was like 600,000, is that correct? I can't remember, but
And
let's just
Chairman
get it
Secretary-
all back on the review.
And how many,
So-
how many estimates did you get, Mr. Lennon?
Just to get a general picture of, I mean, it's just, I just had to get something from somebody's statement to get y'all roundabout figure.
Okay, so
One thing-
I gather what you're telling me is that we only got one then, probably, right? Okay, we need to get three. Is what we always need to do?
Is in the right amount of time. Now, when I'm getting them, I can't just bring them in right then.
I understand, sir.
But that's why I asked the secretary.
I understand, sir.
The date on it.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So-
Thank you, sir.
Because this stuff will cost time.
Yeah,
I don't know if we answered any of these questions.
yeah. Let's
So Dr.
let's,
Atkins,
let's always get three
One-
estimates.
and-
That's the way we do business.
We, and I had instructed Mr. Lennon, he's working now to get, as part of the question was to get some additional pricing information to see, and he's been working on that. We're out 3 days last week with, obviously, and nobody was coming to travel, but I did ask him to do that. On the other part, there was some question about, and I guess I explained this too, with the last 10 years. Part of that challenge, and if they can attest this, in the last couple of years, the state put in new business modernization, so you were doing a better job of coding things by school. Prior to that, it wasn't done with fidelity. A lot of times, things were coded generally, so it could have been purchased. Half of it could have been from one place for the other, but it wasn't necessarily coded specifically. So that would be very hard to track that without going either one to each individual invoice along the way, or two, if someone had recollection. Now, large-scale things like painting, I think it was lights or something in the gym, the pre-K part that was done, that's pretty obvious where that would be. You know, another thing too that we thought about, if you're going back so far, depending on the records retention schedule, what was still on file, you know, back past a certain point. And so there would be some challenges in getting that number. That report does not already exist necessarily. The board would have to, unless I'm wrong, the board would have to authorize that part be done because it would require a lot of staff time. It's not something that could be just printed. Folks have to go through one by one. And again, don't know that we have all the documentation to go back 10 years. We could pull a general maintenance expenditures. It'll show everything for everybody, you know, for what, last 3-4 years or whatever, but it wouldn't,
I
the
don't
last
think we
two
asked
would
for all
be,
that, though, Jason.
yeah, the last two would be more so for,
We're focusing on East Arcadia School, and I think that even if it means that if we can't find that information because it's buried in all the other information, all the other estimates, then we can get an up-to-date estimate on that school's
Right.
septic system.
well, and we're getting that for sure.
well, let's
And-
do
and
this.
The minimum of three, but
Let's-
we can do more than three.
Well, let's get this tabled, right now. So we need to get a motion on the floor to table 10.3 to the March meeting.
I make a motion to table 10.3 until we get the information that's prevalent for us to make a valid decision.
I got a second, any
However
discussion?
long that takes.
All those in favor by signifying by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Motion carries. 10.4, agreement with Daybreak Mental Health Services. Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Chairman Singletary and board members. We have been looking through some options and opportunities to be able to partner with someone who can provide mental
Mr.
health,
Davis, if you could keep order, sir. Thank you.
mental health services with a group. And so We had some various explorations. There's a company called Daybreak Medical. I know that I've had a meeting with them. Dr. Thomas has had a meeting with them as well. Board council has reviewed the agreement. Let me kind of give you a quick overview of what they do. Obviously, parental consent would be required for any services, and that would be for anything. This is through a telehealth model. And let me pull something up here just a moment. Right now, presently, they're partnering with Martin County Schools, Gaston County Schools, Guilford County Schools, Sampson County Schools, Caswell County, Alamance, Burlington, and Chatham County. That's the current districts that are working with them. There is no cost at all to the school system for any of these services. Our counselors or social workers can begin a referral process. Again, requires parental consent. This will have a provider that will be available telehealth. I think it's Monday through Saturday. Can go from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They offer family therapy and support as well. There's been some studies about some of the timeliness of that and the support that it could provide for students. Again, nothing can be done without parental consent. So if a parent says no, it doesn't happen. So the parent has full control. Parent can also be in attendance for these as well. They offer some monthly webinars to educate parents. For younger students, they actually offer family teletherapy for ages 5 through 12. They can have some individual work with parents. They can have play therapy, which is something for younger students as well. When it comes to the older students, with parental consent, that is with the student and therapist, but again, parents have to authorize that. They put an agreement too, they share with their care provider, so if a parent authorizes to have a therapy session, they usually, it says here, they go 50 minutes. There's no requirement for transportation. It is a licensed clinicians. They also have bilingual clinicians if there's a student whose native language is Spanish. Again, part of this is to provide access. We know there's some limitations in our area, access to mental health services. We have had some students that have been on waiting lists with providers and their families, sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6 months out. As far as Chapel Hill, Wilmington, Raleigh, I think most recently I was talking with someone, not about school, that was seeking out something for their child, and they had about a 6 to 8 month waiting before they could get in to see someone. They state they have folks ready and willing to go. Now, in terms of any cost, if a student has Medicaid, there is no cost absolutely at all for that. They will bill insurance. So if a family has insurance, they will bill that directly. They also have a sliding scale. If there is, if someone's doing a self-pay or some folks elect to pay out of pocket, it is negotiated, obviously, and that's what a lot of the providers are kind of doing at this point. But in terms of the school district to have this opportunity to do the referral process, to make it available to families, there's no cost at all to the district. And so it's really providing as a service. We do have a large number of students who are getting Medicaid. And so for others, they list that Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, United Healthcare, some of the larger folks they're working with. And the school system will not be involved in that as direct between parent and them. It would, having the availability, it would greatly decrease the amount of time that families would have to wait if they were trying to seek on their own or a referral was done on their own. And that's been a lot of the frustration, I think, for some when, we've gone through and schools work with the family and there's a referral made. They're having to wait so long. And sometimes they either give up or, it may not ever happen. Had a family that shared with me, looking at ABA therapy for their student, and and they were looking at an in-home supportive in the afternoon after school, and they said they've been on a wait list for a year. And so this will be a service that would help expedite referrals. Again, all with parental consent. I know that's something that we don't, when it comes to medical, whether it's mental health, fixing a broken knee, whatever, you gotta have parental consent. And so, there's a MOU that's here. Like I said, Attorney Weinstein has reviewed that, gone back in terms of, data, any information that's shared, requirements. She's reviewed that agreement. She did make a couple modifications, based on, North Carolina law, and make sure everything was in order to represent the board. And so we would like to ask the board tonight to authorize us to enter this MOU, again, no cost to Bladen County Schools, and to us to provide this as a service through schools. And again, I've shared some other systems that are working with them now. But again, this will be as a service for families and students, and to help expedite and greatly decrease that waiting period that families are having to do right now to get access to these services.
Mr. Atkinson, if I may, just ask the opinion of the subject matter expert in the room, Ms. Diaz. Ms. Diaz Thomas, Dr. Thomas, would you please elaborate on maybe aspects of this program that are not already being mentioned? How do you feel about it?
Thank you, sir. Superintendent Dr. Atkinson summarized it wonderfully, and I appreciate him taking the time to meet with Daybreak Mental Health. I will share, when I met with him, it was a virtual call, very, very impressed with the representative, and immediately said, hey, let's try to get this for the district. So I'm excited to see it on there. I kindly request that you approve it so that we have this resource for our families. Thank you for asking.
I make a motion to approve the
Dr.
program for the district.
So we have a motion on the floor to approve.
Yes.
I got a motion. Mr. Davis made a motion. I have a second. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question of Ms. Thomas. The last one they presented to us about mental health, they said that they could reject people, they said they would reject people that, that they didn't want to service. Did this company do that?
I cannot answer that at this time. I can research that. She didn't say anything about rejecting it, but I didn't ask that question either.
Dr. Thomas, will they do intensive sessions as well?
I'd have to look. It's been, like, I listened to the
Same.
presentation. It's been a while since I spoke with her.
What was that Mr. Thomas about to say?
About intensive?
Intensive.
Yeah.
I think, let me look, it was something about, it was 24 sessions. That was on initial that could go. I think a frequency of attendance gonna compare.
The need. Yep.
I heard we talked about, computers. One thing that we can do as well is, part of this is provide a private space. So if they had something during the day and the parent was present, they could.
And you also do it by telephone.
They could do that. We'd have a secure room. That was what was gonna be in the previous,
Mm-hmm.
agreement as well. They have a private space that can be done at school where we have access to the technology.
Got you. So if someone doesn't have internet access at home, they would still be able to utilize these services within the school day? Okay.
That's part of the MOU. We have access for them to be able to do that during
Good.
school hours.
And if I read it correctly, Dr. Atkinson, it also said it did it by telephone as well.
Right.
So,
It could be, right, it could go either way.
yeah,
They can have phone or internet service.
yeah.
I have a little.
And they might not have a computer, but I bet they got a telephone. They got a cell phone.
Mr. Rhoda?
We gotta look at all kids, not just some.
I think Jason said that they would take Medicaid and also insurance. What if a person didn't have either?
They have a self-pay sliding scale.
Yep.
I think there's a medical group here in Elizabethtown that has a sliding scale. Sometimes that could even be zero or very minimal. They have a sliding scale here too, so if someone didn't have Medicaid or private insurance, they could do the sliding scale, so it'd be, based on income and things like that, so they would have an opportunity to get access to the lower cost of just going to a clinic where they would get a sliding scale.
All right.
We have worked with
So we have a motion and a second and discussion. All those in favor by signifying by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Benny Lennon, lower level bleacher replacement, Elizabethtown Middle School.
Today I'm coming with the bleachers at E-Town Middle. They're out of compliance, and we did pricing, but what we were trying to do is do the bottom bleacher this year, and maybe a year or so down the road, get some more money up and possibly do the top bleacher. I have two quotes. One of them is from Blankenship. It's for $147,400, and the other one is from Scott's Equipment and Surfacing. It's for $153,000. Those are the quotes I have on that. They don't grandfather them no more, and we had some close calls with graduation and all of that. They're supposed to have the walkway up the middle with the handrail, so we're just trying to get them back in compliance.
Have you had any issues with anybody getting hurt or anything like that?
No, we had some that failed, even graduation, but thank goodness they didn't get hurt. So, but we know that they're not in compliance, so we're trying to get them up to compliance. I think that would be the last of the gyms that'll be in compliance.
And one thing we would need to do on this too, and as far as, and as well as the next item, is that the board moves forward is to authorize, the approval is to use the standard services contract, which our attorney has, and they would get that developed for us with the particular vendor who would win that selection.
That's two on the bleachers. The rest of them are 3 and 4 and 5 states over, and you just ain't gonna get that service when you go. The further you go out, if something tear up, it's gonna take them forever to get back here.
And Mr. Lynn, I think the lowest bid is who did the other
Yeah,
middle school gyms.
Blankenship was the lowest. They did Blamer, Clarkton, and I think they did actually East Bladen and West Bladen too. So they the lowest bid. That was the company that we've been using. I don't like to go with new ones, but sometimes if somebody get outbidded, you looking at the quality of work too. With Blankenship, they the lowest. So yeah. The second item I have is for the painting of the.
Mr. Lynn, we need to vote on that one first.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Let me get a motion on the floor to approve the estimate for Blankenship, to fix the, bleachers, lower part of the E-Town, middle school gym.
What warranty are they giving us on this agreement?
On the bleachers, I think it was 10 years, I believe.
10 years.
I think it was. I don't know if it's quite on here. I think it's 10, but I can get that for you, Mr. Davis.
And the second level needs to be done as well, but the most priority is the first level. I think they gave us pricing for the second, but we'd refresh that. I think the goal will be to try to do those maybe over the summer and the first part of next year to get the upper level, but they're not as in bad of a shape. But I think the inspector, if I'm right, Mr. Lennon, said they're gonna have to basically, they gave us a pass on them this time, but I don't think we'll get it next time.
All right, can we get
Mr. Board Chair,
yes.
if you are wishing to have the contract brought back to you, or do you just want to approve it pending the bid, approve the bid, but pending being put in a contract that's been approved by the attorney?
Yeah, I think so. That's what we need to do.
That's
Yes,
what the
ma'am.
motion needs to be
Yes,
then.
ma'am. So we need to make a motion to approve the, Blankenship, estimate pending the, contract brought.
What was the language exactly? I think that,
Rod did that for us.
Just lower level bleacher replacement.
Hold on. He said that it would be okay, recommend to ask the board to approve the subject to the use of the school system approved form contract, which Darrington Smith does have. So it's a form that's usually done with vendors like this for projects like that. But the motion needs to include approval of the bid and allowing us to use the approved contract to go ahead and
So
present
we
to
need
them.
to approve the bid of Blankenship bid, with the, pending the,
Subject to using
subject to
a
use
form
the
contract.
form contract.
Yeah, if they were to come back and want to do something, if the vendor wanted to say, no, I don't accept that, then we had to go through another and we wouldn't do it then, we had to come back to the board, but that would be the standard contract that would be used for that.
Okay, so that's on the table. Can I get a motion on the floor? Got a move? Can I get a second? Have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor by signifying by saying aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 10.6, metal painting of the Bladen Borough Middle School roof.
Yes.
Mr. Lynn, lottery funds.
Yes, sir. The middle school roof is peeling. It just looks, this is an eyesore, really. It looks bad. It's been peeling off, faded. So I got 3 quotes here. And Central Pro is the lowest bid on that one. It's $125, $828.10. You had one from Caps Plumbing, $244, $500. And then Caps has got another company. They actually do bridges and all of that, but they want $251,500. All of them warranty is on the roof because you're sanding it down and repainting. It's 5 years. And
That's all
that's
three?
on all of them. It's 5 years on your warranty.
So we're going with CertaPro. I get a motion on the floor to approve the painting of the metal roof at Blamer Middle School, CertaPro painting, pending the contract. Pending the,
Same thing.
Subject to approval of, subject to being put on a form contract.
subject to being put on a form contract. I got a move on the floor. I got a second. Any discussion?
Yes, 5 years. I mean, there's nothing else on the market, like rubber coated or something like a spray on it?
That is, it is some kind of epoxy spray stuff, what they do with this, but I can check around if you need me to, and see, can I get something different with that? It's probably gonna be more, but I can check and find out for you.
I mean, I think even if they would do it, it would be over into the summer, correct?
Yes, yes. Yeah, but I can get you a price on that, Mr. Edwards, and probably have it, by next month's board meeting for you.
So we need to table it. Is that what we need to do now? We got a motion on the floor. We got a second. We've had discussion. So do we need to table it now?
You can have a vote.
Hold on.
I mean, I think you've got a motion and a second. You would need to take a vote on that
Okay.
motion.
Gotcha. So, all those in favor by signifying by saying aye? All opposed? No? Okay. Motion carries. Now we need to go back and I'll get a motion on the floor to table. Is that correct? Table to the next meeting. I've got a motion on the floor to table. I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor by signifying by saying aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Lena.
All right, thank you.
To get I need to get a motion on the floor of the board to convene in closed session, prevent the disclosure of confidential information pursuant GS 143-318-11, 15 and 6, GS 115C319, and to consult with a board attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege pursuant to GS 143-318-11A3. Can I get a motion on the floor? I got a second. All those in favor by saying aye. All opposed? We're now in closed session.